I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home.
I have a joke for you. What is a skeleton's favorite snack?
I don't know.
Go on, guess.
Death?
No. Go on, guess.
No.
Come on, guess. Why are you laughing? What is a skeleton's favorite snack? Guess.
You're putting me in a lot of pressure.
Guess. Fuck. Guess. Guess, goddamn you. Why won't you answer me? What is my favorite snack?
Bones?
No! No! What is it? Why must you fail me so often? Ribs! Spare ribs!
And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Well, hello, kiddies. It's Victor, your friendly neighborhood watchman, here with you for the first time since Hurricane Ian made its way through Florida. And in my neck of the woods, we were without power for 4 days, 3 nights. It went out as around the time that Ian made landfall on Wednesday, and we got power back on Saturday evening.
Aren't there any lights in this place?
2 nasty-looking switches over here, but I'm not going to be the first. Dim your eyes! Too late.
Still, I love living in Florida. I was born and raised in New York, but I left there decades ago. Most of my immediate family moved to Florida, and I don't regret it at all. Even when the power's out, I'd rather be here than in New York, San Fran, Chicago, any of those Democrat-controlled cities and states. And it gave me time to read. Now, I know people had it a lot worse, and there were lives lost. And of course, that's a tragedy, and people die every day. We don't have to worry about tornadoes, but some folks do that live in other places around the country, like Oklahoma, for instance. But we haven't had a major hurricane here in half a decade, since Hurricane Irma. And we lost power then too, for about 4 days. And then, just like Ian, we only lost power because some folks around here just don't take responsibility and cut down diseased trees. It was a tree that knocked out the power, a fallen tree, just like in Hurricane Irma. Hurricane Irma, I was tracking through the news and was happily surprised. We did not lose power. It made its way through. But, so at the end, an unhealthy tree that a neighbor had not cut down fell over and knocked down freaking power, knocked the power out. You see, many trees around here are prone to type of diseases. My mother had 3 trees. She had an inspector come through, and the woman pointed out trees that were sick. I wasn't present, so I don't know what type of disease. I'm not an arborist, after all, a professional who studies or cares for trees, but I know they're susceptible to fungus and insects and whatnot. So I don't know specifically what the disease was, but nevertheless, she had 3 oak trees, and she cut them down at her expense. But something you have to do for your own protection, and they were tall trees, mature trees, and if it fell on your own house, if it didn't kill you, it'll destroy your home, or it could land with the neighbors, and God forbid, take a life or lives. At the very least, it can damage property, your own and no others. So it's responsible to cut them down, and that's what my mom did. We love trees too. Provide shade, fruit, if you have a fruit-bearing tree, etc. But you don't risk life, limb, or property over a sick tree. It's got to be taken care of. And both times, in both hurricanes, it was the tree, a diseased tree, that was weakened and toppled over and took the power lines down with it. And the linemen can't work. They can't bring their trucks in and work on the power line. It's not their job to remove trees, cut them up, get them out the way. So when we lost power here, we learned that the guy whose tree knocked down the power line refused to cut the tree. Neighbors had to come together, cut up the tree so that the lineman can come in and take care of business. But again, it's just a minor inconvenience compared to what other people have lost. But of course, the Democrats, they don't let a disaster go to waste. As one prominent Democrat said a few years back, his name escapes me at the moment. Never let a disaster go to waste or something like that. So the nerve of these, I mean, you can see here, Florida's getting what it deserves. Hypocrisy. Just from the same person. I mean, but this is nothing. We know this. The total lack of humanity, empathy in the Republican Party is disgusting. December 2016. And look at September 27, 2022. Florida is getting what it deserves. As Cinder said, the hypocrisy never ends. There it is, right before your eyes. And this is endemic of the left. They preach one thing and do the exact opposite. So I'm like, Florida's getting what it deserves. Quoting, if this was a thing, then California would have sunk into the ocean after a catastrophic earthquake, taking Nancy Pelosi and the rest of our ilk, including Hollywood, with it many years ago. So it is with these people. So I want to hear just a little of Tucker go on about this. We'll wind it a bit.
But first, a step back. So when something this awful happens, something that affects the lives of millions of your fellow Americans, decent people step back for a moment.
Right,
it's
decent
a moment
people.
That demands reverence and silence to consider what we've just seen. And then the practical questions.
That ain't the left.
No. People are suffering. How are they suffering? They don't have power. They don't have communications. How many homes were destroyed? You ask questions like that. You try to assess what this means and the human cost of it.
Normal people.
The one thing you don't do is immediately jump forward to score some sort of cheap and sleazy political
You
point.
do. You have a leftist Democrat.
Yup.
Yeah.
Watch.
Decades ago, it used to be one or two a season would happen. Now with climate change and these extreme warm waters, it's almost,
what the fuck is this?
happening all the time.
This storm, in a way, is kind of bad news for the people that are still trying to deny climate change as a factor.
I deny it, asshole.
Climate change as a monster storm barrels towards the coast.
This will be a first-time test for how you adapt to these new, stronger storms on a warmer planet as a result of climate change.
A threat exacerbated, of course, by climate change.
Dude, this area is prone to hurricanes.
It's water that comes up on a good sunny day. That's climate change.
It's getting warmer, and there is just no doubt, I think, left that it is feeding these beasts.
The only beast I see is you.
Imagine taking a science lecture from someone as stupid as Stephanie Rule or Ali Veshi. So on that level, it's ridiculous.
Exactly.
And it's also, as we just suggested, unseemly and anti-human. Of course, people are dying.
Yes.
So wait just a moment before putting forward your demands for more political power. But it's also factually untrue. So you just heard one hairhat say, it used to be 1 or 2 hurricanes a season would happen. Now it's happening all the time.
Yes.
And you hear this all the time. And it's a way of terrifying you into handing politicians more power over your life. But the fact is, it's a lie. It's not even remotely true. Yeah. I mean, it's not a close call. There has been, as a factual matter, no increase in hurricane frequency in the continental United States from 1900 to 2020.
Don't let
That's
the facts get in the way of your lives.
It's been recorded. We have the data. They're on your screen right now.
No
The number
increase.
of landfalling hurricanes has dropped slightly over the past century. Why? We're not sure, but we can probably guess it has nothing to do with climate or your SUV. We do know that in that same period, deaths of human beings from natural disasters such as hurricanes have dropped a lot, by about 90%.
You wouldn't know it before you listen to
And
it.
the death toll is forecast to
Mainstream
drop
media.
even more as people respond to the changing environment. That's what people do. Government scientists at the NOAA and even the professional alarmists at the IPCC predict that hurricanes will become 25% less frequent throughout the 21st century.
Boom shakalaka.
Oh.
Boom shakalaka!
And that makes sense because the current Atlantic hurricane season is the slowest one in a quarter century. So none of that is to downplay or minimize in any way the savagery of Hurricane Ian or the sadness of what it's done to your fellow Americans.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But it does raise the question, how exactly are you responsible for it?
Exactly.
Well, of course, you're not in any sense. You're not liable for that. You didn't do that. You're a normal person. You're grieving for the people who were just killed. You're not trying to score political points on their deaths.
You know, I think ever since you've come into office, things are really looking up. You know, gas is up, rent is up, food is up, everything.
The View, which apparently is still on the air, mocked the people of Florida for daring to ask disaster relief money from the federal government. Watch this.
Scumbags.
Governor DeSantis
Number
says
one,
it's all hands on deck to prepare for what's coming. And that includes reaching across the aisle for help. Isn't it socialism when the government helps you?
No, idiot. It's not.
Like Social Security and
Stupid idiot.
Medicaid, things like that.
Got a comment. Yeah, and the
The
police.
police is not socialism. And you wanted to defund them.
So clever.
Shut the hell up.
Decisive point. This show is totally opposed to censorship or deplatforming or pulling anyone off the air. We're certainly not calling for that in the case of The View. But just as an objective matter, when that show finally does die a well-deserved death and is gone and forgotten, this will be a slightly better country. That's just true.
Exactly.
So consider what you just saw. A hurricane devastates Florida, kills Americans, and the reaction of the morons on The View is to laugh at them, to mock the people who are suffering. And while they're doing this, they claim it's really coming from a place of compassion. They're laughing at people who are dying because they're better than you. See how that works? Yeah. These are the very same people, by the way, who cheered as illegal aliens were removed by force from Martha's Vineyard and sent to a military base. They called them trash. They took them out within 48 hours with the army. But they're lecturing you about compassion as they gloat over a deadly hurricane.
Of course, they're hypocrites.
It's time to stop taking them seriously. Of course, they're not compassionate. They don't care about other people. What they care about is advancing the political power of the party they belong to.
Oh, is that how you want to play it? Yup.
But this is where we're at, folks. Hypocrisy upon hypocrisy. The Democrat Party is the epitome of that word. But there are plenty on the Republican Party also. Mitch McConnell and others just like him. Corrupt politicians who have made a career in our government, which was not, I repeat, and I've said this before, this is not what our founding fathers had in mind. But once again, my friends, I digress. Because you just become used to it with these lying a-holes. These morons keep voting in office. Like Nancy Pelosi, like Waters, Mitch McConnell.
Hello?
Mitt Romney. And how did Biden stay in the Senate for almost 50 freaking years? It boggles the mind. I mean, it just boggles the mind. I have no answer. Like, how has The View been on air for so long? When it's hosted by a bunch of biased, hateful morons. One of the mysteries of life. But I digress again. I keep digressing, because when I try to get out, they pull me back in. Well, folks, it's not a terribly long video. Our hearts go out to those suffering and who's lost loved ones and lost their lives from Hurricane Ian. And the governor asked for assistance because we are still part of the United States. Okay? We haven't seceded yet. So, folks, if you like this video, or even just tolerate it, please give us a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so that you'll be given a heads up when I drop another video. I appreciate you, and as always, stay safe, and I bid you peace.
Yup. No.